Kristina here with Broken Skulls Productions and Mouth for Music Magazine here with Donald Spence at
How's it going?
Fun Music Hall in Pensacola, Florida. How's it going?
Things are good, you know, like we're a week away from home, everyone's a little road warm, but it's like every night's different, so everything's interesting still, you know. It's been a long one, but it's been like a really fun one. It's like been two totally separate tours, so everything's been broken up. There's been different bands on the tour, with Gasoline Heart and Versus the World and Solo and Authority Zero and Drag the River. So it's like, it's been 8 or 9 weeks, but it feels like almost like 3 separate tours, you know what I mean? So yeah.
That's kind of cool though, because you get to meet and work with so many different bands.
Well, a lot of this tour was bands that have toured a lot together, like the Ataris. I've known since I was half my life. I've been friends with Mike Davenport, who's in the Ataris, has been my bass player for years. I've known him since I was 16. Yeah, and I played guitar and sang backups in the Ataris this tour, and we were out with Authority Zero. This has been my 5th Authority Zero tour. All over the world we've traveled together. And then Drag the River, John Snodgrass and Chad Price played my wedding.
Oh,
we've been
awesome.
Brothers forever too. So pretty much and then after that tour ended, me and Authority Zero broke off. I did solo, and then a band that jumped in the middle of that tour was Gasoline Heart, who was just top 10 dudes. So literally it's just been like buddies, you know. It hasn't been the same tour, it's changed 3 different times, but everyone is like brothers. So it's not like we met new people, we just got to rekindle like some pretty solid on the tour. Like I said, it was the Ataris, Drag the River, Versus the World, Gasoline Heart, Authority Zero. But then we set it up super different because a lot of bands were traveling together and we were such good buddies that the Ataris, the 3 of the dudes in Versus the World and 2 of the guys in Drag the River, we all traveled in the same vehicle.
Right.
So it wasn't like 4 bands showed up in 4 different vehicles. It was literally 4 bands showed up in fucking 2 vehicles. So every night you were with 3 different bands. Every night you traveled. It was like, I've never toured like that in my life, and it was really special. It was really cool. I got closer to the Drag the River guys and the Ataris guys than I would have ever imagined. Because it's like a relationship. Like you spend 2 months waking up in the same hotels, so you see these people in the very early morning when they're kind of cranky and shitty.
Right.
You see them during the day when they're quiet and like talking to their wives and like in the zone just contemplating the day. And then you see them at night when we're singing and drinking alcohol and we're like in the brotherhood, you know?
Right.
So it's literally, and you'd see that for 8 weeks. You literally get to like really, really know people because you're just living with them. It was a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Kind of turns into one of those, like you wake up in the morning and you see the one side, and at the end of the day you see like 5 different people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful thing, and like we'd all been buddies, but we'd been buddies that just played music together. And then with the way that we traveled this time, like after this tour broke off, I jumped into the 30 band, so I'm traveling with them. So I've literally traveled in the same vehicle with 3 different bands on this tour, and you get to know people on a level that it's a real level. Like it's almost at a relationship level.
Right?
You know?
Minus the spit spats.
Yeah, but there is too. You know, you get to see everyone's nuances. You get to see when someone's hungover and cranky and they just want to be left alone, you know? And you get to read that body language and know like this person needs a minute, you know? It's really, really cool. You get to really know humans. I like that.
What made you decide to go do a solo record?
I've always loved punk rock. I've always written punk rock. That's been my life since I was a teenager. I've always loved that. But I was raised on just old country music. My dad's from Results, Texas. I was raised in Texas. And I've always written slower, like melodic, simple music. Right. You know, like I love Willie Nelson. I love like Waylon Jennings. I love Roy Orbison. I love simple old pop music before pop music was pop music.
Right.
To where it was literally just 4 simple chords and just a guy just singing from his fucking toes. So that,
from his toes.
No, that's like
soul to the sky.
That's something that I really liked, and it's always been a part of me. And I've done other bands like that, like before Chris from Lagwagon and Mike from Atari's joined my band, me and my drummer Brian, we were in a country band called Crooks and Liars. So it's always been part of my blood. So it was a natural progression to, I've had all these songs, like it's time to release them and tour on them and work on that part of my life too, you know.
Right.
It's about being well balanced. You know, I have a wife, I have a dog, I have a job, I have a punk band, and I also have these other songs that were just sitting there.
Right.
So it's time to work on those, you know, show them some light.
It definitely it brings a different aura to you. Like your whole persona changes when you perform the solo stuff.
It's a different deal because you have to be delicate, you know, because these songs don't always need you to be screaming or shouting or singing super loud. Sometimes it's about just like easing back on the guitar and easing back on the vocal and just kind of letting the words kind of tell the story, you know.
Right. I love how, like, at the end of it, you don't even need a mic.
Yeah, sometimes you don't, you know. Sometimes it's better just to drop it and shout, you know.
Right.
Just sing as loud as you fucking can and let them know that that's how you felt when you wrote the song, you know.
It definitely portrays a lot more emotion.
It's really fun. Because it's just you and the guitar. So it's like you can't have the drums do the crescendo.
Right.
You can't have like the solo bring the song up. It's really just about the story and where you take it.
It's kind of cool to watch. Like,
It's really fun.
I've never seen anyone get that into a song and then just come right back out of it, like bursting through a wall full of Legos.
It's fun to do. It really is. It's really fun to do. It's a different part of me, and it really, it's almost, it's like freeing almost, you know.
Right.
Yeah. Because you have nothing to depend on but you and how loud you can stomp your feet and play your guitar.
Yeah, the stomp foot thing, like that, I mean, it echoes through the whole place.
Yeah,
And that's cool.
Yeah, the only percussion I got is, you know, my shoes. So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Makes me wonder, do you ever, like, intentionally wear platforms so you can get
I'm a really short guy. Like, so when I was playing with Versus or when I was playing with the Ataris, I would always wear Chucks because it's easier to move around. But
yeah.
when I'm singing my solo stuff, I got my Doc Marten low tops. I love my Doc Marten shoes, and I'm a short man, so they have a little bit of a platform, so at least people can see me in the background.
I have a pair of Doc Martens.
I love my Doc Martens. Chucks and Doc Martens have always been my preferred.
I can't wear my Chucks anymore. Like, my feet are all jacked up, so they don't quite agree anymore.
Yeah, they're pretty flat, but I just love simple. I love Chucks. They just look like a good shoe to me. You know?
Right.
They just look like you look all right.
Have you come across folks across the tour where you actually just want to like hang out and be their friend? It's not just like, oh yeah, you're a cool fan. I mean, like someone you want to continue to speak with afterward.
Yeah, I mean, I'm by myself, so it's a really cool thing. I met this kid, Daniel Love. He's been a fan of Versus the World and Crooks and Liars for a long time. He came to the show the other night, and he was wearing a Versus the World shirt. No, he was wearing a Crooks and Liars shirt. His girlfriend was wearing a Versus shirt. And he just had this thing. He was like, here's my songs. Like, do you have time? Can I play them for you? And we just like sat in the back. He's a kid. So I was just drinking whiskey and listening to his songs. And I played him a couple of mine. Like, it's a cool thing. Like, it's obviously really fun when you're on tour with your band. Because then you're a group. You know, you get to travel and hang together. But when you're solo, you get to kind of just like, it's just you. Like, I just sit at the bar and when my show's done and people come talk to me and I hang out. It's like it's just me. So, like, yeah, come, let's hang. It's kind of a different deal, but it's really fun.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about, like, taking account for the other band members.
Yeah, it's just you, you know. But, I mean, the cool thing is when you're traveling with a band, you're a traveling family, so you're never alone, which is sometimes a bad thing, but it's always a great thing. So, you know, like, no matter how lonely you are, you still have 3 best friends to confide in and hang with. So solo is a lonely deal, but it's also very cool because you're just vulnerable. You're open to hang and meet and talk and drink. Yeah.
That reminds me of the One is the Loneliest number song.
Right? I like that. Nice.
You're gonna go like, hey, Kristina here. This song is for you.
I'll remember that. I'll try to do that.
Can't wait
sure.
to see it on Facebook.
Bitchin'. I like that.
All right, well, I think I'm gonna get you some rest.
Yeah, I appreciate the time. Cheers. Too bad the video didn't work, but what happens happens.
We can probably spin this to some of the photos that I took.
Perfect. That's great. I appreciate it, guys. Cheers.